They do ask me to twerk. Hi guys, welcome back to the Nomad Method. I wanted to get on here today and talk about 10 things I wish I knew before moving abroad. The life so far as a nomad and as an expat in a new country, a few different countries so far actually, has been really interesting. I've learned a lot and it's been a bit of a surprise actually for me. I thought I prepared well enough coming out here, but I've learned that some things you just can't anticipate. So I want to help you guys understand what it is that you could be missing and what you should really prepare for and think about before you move abroad. Please stay and watch the full video because when I get to parts 5 and after that, that is the real tea, okay? Part 1, the productivity trap. I wish I knew how much my work would be hanging over me. I probably bit off more than I could chew when I signed up to work full-time and travel full-time. Being a digital nomad is distinctly different from being on vacation because you're still working 40 hours a week. You have the same office expectations, just with a different view. And your job is really your tether to the rat race. So it's a really strange juxtapose because I'm really interested in living a totally different life of freedom and abundance and uniqueness, right? And not chasing after any particular levels or status. I'm really moving through the world right now without a solid role to play, which allows me to have the freedom that I can right now. But my job is a specific role to play with levels that I'm supposed to be achieving things, I'm supposed to be advancing, and I'm supposed to be preparing for the future in this rat race. In my job, they are expecting me to be planning and hoping to become a manager, a supervisor, a professional mentor someday. And they've even asked me questions like, do I intend to go to higher education? Do I plan to get an MBA? How am I going to advance my career in the future? And these are great questions for someone who is interested in career advancement, but me personally, I'm not, and I can't pretend to be. So this is a really strange juxtapose that I'm facing right now and figuring out, is my life going to continue to progress and advance in the way that the US and Western society expects? Or am I going to really full send my life here as a nomad, as a traveler, and someone who has no clear plan or trajectory? I know you can't explore without money. My job is my lifeline and I need to have some sort of income to continue to live comfortably out here. So this is just something that I've been thinking a lot about, and I hope that you also consider this when you decide to move abroad, especially if you're a digital nomad working full-time. Part 2, the 48-hour learning curve. I wish I knew how frustrating it would be to have a different set of keys every month. It's like relearning basic human functions, like how do I open this door? How do I turn on the stove? How do I open a window? Like, it's the simplest things that really catch me off guard every time that I'm getting used to a new place. And so that's something that I have to relearn every time I move. And it's just something that, you know, really surprised me. I didn't think that that would be an issue, and it's not necessarily a big problem, but it is a surprise and it's something that you are going to deal with too. Part 3, have a budget for the setup phase. When you first arrive at a new place, you're probably going to be eating out, trying new things. You don't have groceries yet and you're in a new place. So of course, you're going to want to settle in a little bit, lighten your load, go out to eat, and maybe you'll splurge a little bit to try something new on that menu. But this is something that I've had to think about, even considering things like when you first go grocery shopping, you're going to spend a little bit more buying a big thing of oil, cooking oil, and seasonings. My monthly budget did not originally account for the fact that most of my money is gonna get spent in the first 2 weeks of the month compared to the last 2 weeks. And so I would get so confused, like, where did all my money go by the end of the month? Because I'm still sticking to the budget, and generally I haven't gone over my budget, but I just spent more settling in than I had, originally planned. Okay, I'll eat out maybe a couple times a week, but then it turned out in the first week I ate out most of the first week, and so the last week I cannot eat out at all during the last week. You know what I'm saying? So I would just consider adding that to your budget if you're planning for a trip and thinking month to month. I have put in my budget another extra 20% of my income dedicated specifically to the setup phase, and so I can have a little more wiggle room to treat myself in the first couple days. Y'all, I'm in El Valle de Anton right now, and it's so nice. As you can see, it's super beautiful, and they're playing good music out here in the neighborhood. I'm glad my channel is not monetized yet, because this would get demonetized, but I'm not cutting it out. Hey everyone, I'm currently editing this video from the hotel, and I just wanted to jump in here and announce that I have recently just written a guidebook for anyone who is interested in the nomad lifestyle and doing something like this. It's called Think Like a Nomad, so please check it out in the description below. I linked it there, and you can also see it in my bio. Thanks. Back to the video. Part 4, the adjustment period. I wish I knew how hard it would hit my body and my nervous system when getting used to a new location. This ends up being something like sleeping more or sleeping less, because you're adjusting to things like temperature, humidity, time zone differences. So taking that into consideration, there's a lot of differences that your body is going to go through, and it will be an adjustment period for you. So in order to handle this, I would just recommend giving yourself a little bit more extra time when you first land. Like, instead of, saying, oh, I'll sleep the first night, I think maybe sleep the first 3 nights and not really plan anything, because it's going to be really good to help your body just get used to the environment around you before pushing yourself to really go too far. Part 5, the real tea, is that you need to leave some things to mystery. I wish I knew that other travelers might get jealous of your travels. Initially, I thought I would find instant community with other travelers, expats, because we're all outside of our hometowns. We're all doing something different and fun and fresh, and we're excited for something new, right? But at the end of the day, everyone is not going the same way that I am, especially for the same amount of time that I am. So I've learned that I can't tell everyone where I'm from, what I do for work, how long I'm staying, and other stuff like, my relationship status. These are some of the most common questions that you get asked, though, especially when you are new to an area or you're in a hostel, because people are just curious. Well, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Why do you have a computer? Are you working? What do you do for work? Things like this. And I'm telling you, I get asked these questions almost every day. So I hope that you understand why I'm hitting these specific subjects, even relationship status, because people have asked me so many times, are you single? Are you single? Are you alone? And it's really gonna be something that you need to figure out how you're gonna answer those questions. In some places, your answers to these questions might cause issues like problems with your safety or even social respect. People will treat you differently if they think you are the wealthy foreigner. I understand it might be hard, especially if you're excited and you're a friendly person, but really, really try to keep most things a secret. How I navigate this is I actually make up a whole fake name and background and job and all that stuff. So when people ask me these questions, really, I just say that I'm a student and I'm traveling here for a couple weeks. That's kind of my answer when everybody asks, because I can't, you can't tell me I'm not a student, and it really doesn't change their mind whether or not you're here for studies. So that's kind of usually my answer. Oh, I'm learning Spanish and I'm a student and this is a vacation, something like that. Yeah, I've just noticed people treat me differently when I say, oh, I'm traveling full time, I'm traveling for a year, I'm working while traveling and I'm not planning on going back home. Like if I tell them that type of stuff, then they are like, oh, well, I'm here for 2 months, but not a year. I wish I could travel for a year. I'm so jealous of your life. Like they say it like that. And you know, I mean, it's all about how you respond to, of course, say whatever you want to these people. I'm just letting you know, you might get some funny looks. Part 6, stocking up on free stuff. I wish I knew how many little items I would pick up along the way. I'm slowly building up this survival kit of like courtesy free soap and shampoo, conditioner, and then also small grocery items, tea bags, and my pink Himalayan salt that I found at one grocery store but I haven't seen anywhere else, so I just take it where I go. You know, little bags of pepper, ketchup, sugar packet. You never know when you'll see a grocery store again, so sometimes it can become a habit for you to pick up things and keep them just in case you feel like you need them, and you know, you decide that you want to treat yourself here and there and keep a little bit of, you know, carry your home with you as you continue to move. Maybe consider having some type of storage thing. Like I have a little mini Tupperware it's just a square and it fits in my bag, and I have all my tea bags, sugar packets, all that in there. So I've started carrying that with me, and if I need to use the Tupperware, I'll take those things out, but you know, eventually I'll try to make space and put them back in, because that's really my kitchen on the move. Part 7, have thick skin and be unfazed. I wish I knew that people can be kind of mean everywhere. This is maybe one of the reasons why I felt like I was really excited to leave the US, because I am a bit more playful, and sometimes there people can be very serious and they can look at me funny like, oh, you're childish or something like that, just because I'm a very bubbly personality. And so it really excites me to have other bubbly, friendly people around here and just in the places that I travel to that are similar, matching my energy, you know? Wherever you go, there's always gonna be people who gossip, maybe play with your time and not take you seriously or purposely bother you, especially since they know that you might never see them again if you're not staying too long. For example, locals will probably test you. This has happened to me a few times where I'm going somewhere and I'm starting to speak Spanish, right? I want to practice my Spanish with a local. So I maybe say something simple like, you know, hola, ¿cómo estás? You know, hi, how are you? And they will say something really, really fast in Spanish. And then I will be kind of like, whoa, you know, I didn't understand. Could you say it again? And everyone around will start laughing, you know, and it's something, I'm not trying to say that this is necessarily mean, but I do feel like they do it on purpose sometimes, especially if there are a lot of other locals around. Maybe they will say a word that they know you don't know, or do something that they know you won't understand. And so it's kind of a joke. And so the key here is really just to not let yourself become the punchline. If you see they're laughing, and obviously they're laughing because they know that you didn't understand. I mean, the joke is obvious. I'm a foreigner. I'm trying to speak Spanish, but I don't really understand Spanish. And so I don't know what you're saying. And so, okay, it's funny. It's kind of funny, yeah. And I'll laugh too, and I'll be like, yeah, I know. My Spanish, muy malo. It's not very good. Just, you know, can you speak slower? And just, you know, brush it off, because at the end of the day, this is gonna happen a lot. You know, people see that you are a foreigner, and so they're gonna just maybe do something to like poke at you a little bit and be like, you're not from here. You know, this is common. But another part of this is that I want to say that other travelers can come from all parts of the world, and they can come with predisposition from their own societies. And so really it is just about practicing being unbothered if people maybe treat you differently or stereotype you. Another example is that sometimes I like to go and check out the nightlife. I'll go to a party or a bar and join the karaoke, see what's going on, whatever. But as a Black woman, they do ask me to twerk. And this is a little personal. I'm sorry if that's something that y'all don't want to hear, but if you are a Black woman traveling, I need you to know this and know this now. Like, I have to be blunt and direct about it because it's really something that I keep experiencing. When I go out to parties, people ask me to twerk because other countries and even European countries and things, if they don't see a lot of black women, all they know about American black women is that we twerk, right? So they're gonna say, can you twerk? Show us right now, dance for us, you know? And I'm like, no, I don't wanna do that, you know? But I get asked that a lot. So I have to point that out and let y'all know. People might stereotype you, and so you have to just know how to brush it off, be unbothered, and continue to enjoy yourself. Part 8, the trap of overpacking. So I have a luggage that has all my toiletries on one end and all my clothes on the other end. And there was a lot of space in that toiletry side that I could buy more things like body wash and stuff when I got into the country. But after buying those things, my bag is full and it's heavy, and I did not account for the other things that I might like to buy when I get here, like other clothes. So sometimes you see a nice shirt or a nice hat, or even I picked up a hammock along the way because I realized that I end up in all these beautiful areas with all these trees. I want a hammock and I want to be able to set something up and enjoy it that way. So I've bought a hammock while I'm out here, and hammocks are pretty big. I mean, it's not something that I want to carry on my shoulder every time, so I need to make room in my suitcase for that. And so you should just understand that periodically you will very likely have to leave things behind, whether it be in a hotel room or donate them, or sometimes at hostels they have a free give box and you can put a bunch of stuff that you don't need in that box, and then other people that come in and out the hostel will look inside that box and see if they want anything. So I do that a lot. When I go to hostels and I see that box, I always try to think of maybe something I can leave behind, because I know, knowing me and how much I like retail therapy, and I don't realize I have a need until I get into a situation where I'm like, oh, I could really use a hammock right now. You know, that's the kind of situation that I want to be prepared for. And so you should also think about that too. Part 9, the reality show. I wish I knew how much drama goes on inside of hostels. It's definitely covert, but the longer you stay, the more the cracks start to show. The conflicts that I usually see are long-term guests versus themselves. Because sometimes a lot of guests who are like, oh, I'm here to see if I want to live in this country. I'm staying in this hostel and I'm here. You know, they've been in the hostel for maybe a month or something. They start to have a lot of complaints. Anybody would, even me. If I stay in a place for a long time, I start not to like it. And that's just the facts. That's why I move once a month. Or sometimes twice a month, or however often, because I know that once I enjoy getting settled in a place, especially if I really like it, but the cracks always start to show. And if you've been there for a long time, or someone else has, they might come to complain to you about the things that they don't like that they've noticed over their time being there. Similarly, you might start to have some complaints. So just be aware that people are always kind of in their own heads, and even if you meet them and they seem like they're having a great time, you might also meet those people who complain a lot. That's one of the people that I see often in the hostels, the one that complains about the hostel, but they've been living there for 3 months. The other conflict that I see is guests versus guests, so especially if there's 2 long-term guests, but in general it can be anybody. There's usually always some drama where one guest doesn't like the other, and there's some tension in the room when those 2 get together. This is like a funny one. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, finally, Rule 10, the golden rule. I wish I knew not to make commitments too soon. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Please, I'm asking you, do not do that. Be flexible and plan loosely enough. So if a city feels wrong, you can leave. If a hostel is not comfortable, you can find a new room or a new hostel. And if you fall in love with an area, you can stay longer because you don't have some type of commitment creeping in on you to stop you from that's making you leave. If you really want to do something, you should have that flexibility to be able to change your decisions. And the last one that I touched on a little bit in the beginning and I want to round out again is saying, if your job is weighing too heavy on you, be prepared to adjust that commitment as well. Start looking for something else and be willing to work part-time if you have to. Freedom is the whole point of this. And if you are looking to be free and you want to live this lifestyle in full send into achieving your dreams, you should be willing to not let anything hold you back from that, even if it is a job. I just want you to understand that the value is in your own determination and commitment to the life and achieving the life that you want to live. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, maybe a little informative. And if anything stood out to you, please comment below what was interesting. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I have so much more episodes coming out. I'm posting twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays, okay? Sometimes early I post Thursdays and Saturdays, but I'm gonna try to stick to Thursday and Sunday. So please turn on post notifications, hit that bell icon down below, and you can be notified every time that I upload.